Thanks very much, Sam. I am here with the chairman, Jeff Gural of Meadowlands Racing and Entertaining. And of course, the big announcement on Wednesday was that Hard Rock International and the Meadowlands unveiled the plans for the $1 billion Hard Rock Casino Meadowlands. How'd you think everything went on Wednesday? Were you happy?
Actually ecstatic. I thought it went as well as we could have possibly hoped. We had all of the politicians from the north and very passionately talking about the importance of putting on the ballot this November a referendum that would allow casino gambling outside of Atlantic City. And I think we had a lot of coverage, a lot of TV cameras. I saw it on a couple of stations. I thought it went as well as could be.
Now, when you took over the racetrack from the state of New Jersey back in 2011, you talked about a casino. That was a big part of the reason why you did it. Why is now the time that this has to happen?
Well, the trick is, in order for it to happen, we need that referendum to pass. And in our opinion, in 2015 is an off-year election. It would be easy for us to get our message out. And the type of voter who comes out in this type of election is typically your party faithful, your labor unions. And the key for us is to get our message out, because people have to understand that the reason we're doing this is that we're going to pay a very high tax rate, the Pennsylvania tax rate. I think we would generate, if we're open by ourselves for a while, we could generate as much as $500 million in taxes for New Jersey, and I propose that at least 100 or 200 million of that go to help Atlantic City rebuild the town and keep them from going bankrupt.
Now, the casino plan that we saw calls for 5,000 slot machines, 200 tables, between 12 and 15 restaurants, a New Jersey Music Hall of Fame. And like you said, a lot of that revenue that is projected to be generated would go to Atlantic City to help in their recovery. So what do you say to the opponents of this plan, particularly Atlantic City folks, who are still against having a casino in the northern part of the state? They think it's going to kill Atlantic City for good.
I think they're in denial. Atlantic City is going to die without this help. This has got nothing to do with North versus South. They said to me when I was down there, we don't want any competition from the North. The problem is they have competition from the North. It's just not in New Jersey. It's in New York and Pennsylvania, and neither of those two states are offering to give them a dime. So I don't understand. If they think about it, they would recognize this is a great opportunity. And my concern is if they wait too long, people are going to say, we're just throwing good money after bad in Atlantic City. Let's just let it go. So I think now's the time to do it. I'm very concerned. I think next year would not work, and we'd have to wait till 2017 to put it on the ballot. So it's either this year or 2017, and that would cost the taxpayers $1 billion, assuming my 500 million is right. Doesn't make sense.
Now, we know a lot of people watching this interview right now, Meadowlands Racing fans. We know that some of that money that would be generated from a casino would go to help racing. Do you have any idea how much money we're talking about here that would be projected to help racing in New Jersey and breeding in New Jersey?
Well, we've asked that 10% of the slots handle go for purses, and we have an agreement with the Monmouth people that we would give them half of that money. So it could be as much as $80 million. 40 million for us, 40 million for the Meadowlands and Monmouth, and part of that obviously would go to the breeders. But I think it would revive racing here. We'd be back to what we were. We're the best racing on the planet. The best harness racing would be right here. We'd have the best purses. Right now, fortunately, we struggle because the other tracks in Pennsylvania and Yonkers have better purses, and it's easier to win unless you draw the 7 or 8 at Yonkers, and then it's hard to win. Here, at least, if you draw the 10-hole, it's not a disaster. But you're in an 8-horse race versus a 10-horse race. On the other hand, a lot of our races lately have not been 10-horse races, so hopefully, and we're going into the stake season, and the 2-year-olds. People want to race their young horses on a mile track. We've got the best drivers. It's easier for them to get their legs under them on a mile track. No turns, so we'll see.
Now, with the amount of money that would go towards purses that we generate from this casino, we have 81 days of racing here at the Meadowlands. Do you envision more racing? How much more racing if we get the casino?
I would envision that we would race 3 days a week year-round. Not year-round. I mean, from middle of November to Hamiltonian. Although it's possible that if we did get slots, we might race the thoroughbreds here in the fall rather than harness, and we would do what they used to do. We would open up the harness meet, maybe right after Christmas. In that case, we might race a little more, but I'm just concerned if you look at the number of mares bred, there are going to be less and less horses available. So I don't think that that racing, more than 100 days makes sense. We won't have enough horses anyway.
Now, looking at the renderings we saw on Wednesday, we can put those up on the screen now. How much of the facility would remain dedicated to racing? Where would Pink still exist? Where would simulcasting be? It's obviously a beautiful facility. Some people are asking, where does racing fit among that facility?
Well, what we would do is we would build a new building for simulcasting. So basically what you see over here with the simulcast area would be put in another building, except for the VIP section. We would leave that the way it is. So our VIP section would remain the same. The ground floor would become a casino with slot machines, possibly some table games, and then the food area, that would remain the same. And on the second floor would be mainly racing. We might convert Trotters into a steakhouse, I'm not sure. Where we play poker now, we would probably pay poker for real money. But mainly the second floor would be for racing. Pink would remain. And not sure about what we would do with the skyboxes, but obviously the roof would remain, and people could sit outside. So we'd have to see. So
people that are the loyal Meadowlands Racing fans, they're still going to have a place to be in the new building. They're still going to be taken care of, and still racing will be an important part of a Meadowlands casino, correct?
For live racing, yes. For simulcast racing, they'll be in a different building, but other than the VIP section. And I think they'll be, just as happy there.
Now, obviously, like we know, this needs to get on the ballot. It needs to be voted on by the people of New Jersey. What can people do at this point that are in favor of this casino referendum? What can they do to try to help? And is there something they can do? Contact their elected officials?
Yeah, that's what they can do. They should call their senator, their assemblyman, and say that they would like to see this on the ballot. That's all they've got to do. And if enough people do that, I think that's likely that it'll be on the ballot, to be honest with you. So that's really what's got to happen.
Now, obviously, we know if we do get the casino, all the good things that do happen, but what happens if this doesn't work?
If it doesn't work, we're going to keep pushing. We're trying to get more and more events. Like last Saturday, we had Jersey Fest. It was a huge success. Tomorrow we have obviously a Triple Crown on the line, but we have food trucks, a seafood festival. Tonight we have a couple of big groups, and we've got a concert at the end of the month in the last Sunday where they music and they throw paint at each other. Hopefully none of my children will be there for that, but obviously it's a lot of fun, and that's our goal, to build up, be able to use the beautiful facility we have for other events other than just horse racing. We've got camels and ostriches next weekend. That's always been popular. Hopefully it'll remain popular, but we're trying to come up with new and different events so that we can take advantage of the beautiful building.
Sitting here on June 5th, on a percentage basis, how comfortable, how certain are you that this is going to go through?
I'm not certain at all. There's one person who's standing in the way, and that's Steve Sweeney. And unless we're able to persuade Steve, who's a friend of mine, to put it on the ballot, we're in trouble. Steve seems to think we'd be better putting it on next year, and I totally disagree. And it's basically it, but it's in his ballpark, and if we can't convince him, it's not going to go on the ballot.
Now, we saw Governor Christie said he'd be amenable to a Northern Jersey casino. He's previously been a roadblock to this happening. So would you say it's better than 50-50? Is it 60-40? I mean, where do you see it?
I really don't know. I don't know if we can persuade Steve Sweeney to change his mind. It's as simple as that. He told me he would put it on the ballot if he thought we could win, and I think we could win. So hopefully he'll keep his word. But we've got to kind of convince him that it should go on the ballot.
Now, he wasn't here on Wednesday. Have you spoken to him since Wednesday?
I haven't spoken to him in a couple of weeks. The last time I saw him, he told me that if I could convince him that it could win, he would put it on the ballot. But I know lately he's had a different position. So it really, politics. I couldn't tell you.
In your experience playing the politics game here, easier or harder in New Jersey compared to New York, where you've had so much success with Tioga and Vernon Downs?
Very hard in New Jersey. Much harder than it was in New York, although I didn't exactly succeed in New York either, getting a casino license.
Yet.
But I did succeed in getting the law. I helped write most of the laws that exist in New York. I'm watching one of my horses race at the Meadows, so if I'm a little distracted, that's why. And so far, so good. 2 horses have broken in front of us, so now I'm third. So, but New Jersey is a little tougher. But, I know the people. The governor is a good guy, and so is Steve Sweeney, for that matter, and Prieto is a good guy. And so I'm optimistic that that we'll be able to persuade them to put it on the ballot, and I'm optimistic that my horse is going to finish second in this race if it would end soon.
That's By and By Hanover at the Meadows right now in the Courier and Eves, in case anyone's wondering. I got to ask you one more about a horse you own, a thoroughbred that you bought 3 years ago, Blue Barrel, 160,000 yearling, making her long-awaited debut on Wednesday at Belmont Park. What do you think of owning a thoroughbred that's taken so long to get to the races?
It's very interesting. Because, to be honest, I would have never waited this long with a harness horse. I would have gotten rid of the horse long ago. And I kept asking the trainer, why aren't we getting rid of this horse? And apparently it's not uncommon in the thoroughbred game for these things to take a couple of years. Actually, they have high hopes for this horse. So I'm kind of hoping that she does well. I really love to race in Saratoga this summer, so that's my goal, and hopefully we'll get there. But thoroughbred game is tough. They go for a lot of money, but as you can see, we race a lot more frequently than they do. We're a lot sounder. They're more fragile. And between now and Wednesday, I hope she does get in the starting gate, because you never know.
You do never know, and we'll never know what happens with this casino story, but we'll definitely be following it, and thank you for explaining it a little more to us and being in the Sulky tonight.
My pleasure, and honestly, if you're out there and you're hearing me speak, please, if you know your senator or your assemblyman, pick up the phone. Even if you don't get him, just tell whoever answers the phone why you're calling and what the reason is. It can only help.
Well, thanks again for being with us in the Sulky. That's Jeff Gural, the chairman of Meadowlands Racing and Entertainment. Coming up, Hollywood Hayden joins me to tee up tonight's 12 race card. We'll be back right after this.